Tactics, where we waste your time.
A lot of people in the top 10 third level spells video were wondering why slow wasn't on the list. Well, it's really simple. It does half the job and then...
Kobold, you're going too fast.
November 1st, Kobold and Gator Dice goes live.
Yippee! Rolling around at the speed of sound.
Got dices to roll, gotta follow the Kickstarter. Soon, Gator, we will be joining hundreds of games, and we will help the player kill everybody. These weapons are optimized to give you the best outcomes in both success and failure for good storytelling. One has an alligator in it, and the other has a kobold. And the dice come in different shapes, like square, my favorite.
You can play Candyland with it.
Hell yeah. Also part of our Kickstarter launch, for the first 48 hours, backers will receive a kobold adventure.
It's a birthday party. Everybody loves birthdays.
It's a one-shot murder mystery that's easy to run. It's a great introduction for our campaign. Or you could just plug that in somewhere in a city.
And that's not all. We also have other rewards too.
Giant dice the size of your hand, trays, inspiration coins, and even another adventure involving Gator.
That's me.
We want to play at your tables and power game with you. November 1st and we go live. Head on over to Kickstarter and follow us if you're interested. Link in the description. Back to the video. Slow. Let's read the spell. Third level spell, action, 120 foot range, 1 minute duration. You alter time around up to 6 creatures of your choice in a 40 foot cube within range. Each target must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be affected by the spell for the duration. An affected target's speed is halved. It takes a -2 penalty to AC and dexterity saving throws. And it can't take reactions. On its turn, it can take either an action or a bonus action, not both. And it can make only one attack if it takes the attack action. If it casts a spell with a Subnautic component, there's a 25% chance the spell fails as a result of the target making the spell's gestures too slow. An affected target repeats the save at the end of each of its turns, ending the spell on itself on a success. There's quite a lot going against this spell. Let's start with the AoE itself. It's a 40 foot cube, which is the same size as a 20 foot sphere on a grid like Fireball. It's Fireball sized, which is good. The AoE is bigger than Hypnotic Pattern, which is a 30 foot square. That's the blue square I put there. Slow is green. So far so good. The problem is it only affects up to 6 creatures for some reason. Now don't get me wrong, that's a lot of creatures. But Hypnotic Pattern, Fear, Web, Sleet Storm, Fireball, and whatever kind of AoE spell out there with a shape you put down on the battlefield don't have a creature limit like that. This is the only spell I can think of that's like this. It's not like Bane or anything. If there's 10 creatures in the Hypnotic Pattern or whatever, all of them are going to make a save.
But Kobold, what about...
I know exactly what you're thinking, and we'll get to that eventually. I need to talk about the effects. On a failed save, speed is halved. That stacks with difficult terrain, by the way. That's really good. -2 AC and dex saves. Creatures can't take a reaction, and can only take an action or a bonus action, and can only make one attack if they take the attack action. And lastly, casters casting a spell with Subnautic components have a 25% chance of failing to cast the spell. That's quite a lot of debuffs, which is appealing, but unfortunately, it's a repeat save at the end of each of their turns, and the shutdown power itself is half-assed, to put it bluntly. It's not a 100% shutdown, or has an additional effect that works 100% of the time.
What do you mean by an effect that works 100% of the time?
Sleet Storm, for example, is not a 100% shutdown spell, really. Like, if you fail to save, you can maybe still get up from prone and walk a little. But the spell is so effective because getting up from prone shaves off so much speed, and the difficult terrain doesn't have a save, it's automatic. even on a success, the spell is still doing something. It's difficult terrain and heavily obscurement. There's of course more to it, but you get the gist. Web, which is a second level spell, is even better than that in Shutdown, but Web has a smaller AoE. These effects that work automatically are surprisingly underrated. They're usually the best part of the entire spell, because they always do something, and they're easy to combo with. Anyways, what we should really be talking about here is Hypnotic Pattern and Fear. Just like Slow, they don't have an automatic effect. But what they do have is when the enemy fails the save, they are 100% out of the fight. It's a total shutdown. Slow doesn't have that. There's ways to break the condition with Hypnotic Pattern and Fear, of course. With Hypnotic, for example, an enemy can shake their friend as an action, which is pretty easy. And then all the enemies do it to each other. Or they can just attack you to break your concentration. Or they can potentially attack their own friends to get them out of the condition, which is quite effective. That's if they have multi-attack. But like, in every single way, I think this is a win for you. With Slow, you're not wasting their actions, or turn, or forcing them to spend time recovering. The recovery comes natural with a repeat save at the end of their turn. It's not like Web, where they have to spend an action to break free of the web if they're stuck in the web. I think the most painful thing here really is that they can still do stuff when they are slowed. They can still move at half speed, make an attack as an action. It's one swing though. At level 5, when you get this spell, most enemies only make 2 swings. So you're cutting their attack by half, which isn't really that impressive. As for the action or bonus action, not both debuff, it's usually a big nothing burger, because most enemies don't do anything with their bonus action anyways. And then there's the debuff to somatic components. 25% chance of a spell being wasted isn't bad. Enemy casters don't care about their resource management, so they're still gonna blow their biggest slot anyways. And chances are still highly in their favor. They have a 75% chance that spell goes off. And even if everybody in the party succeeds against the save, that spell they cast will most likely still do something to you. Like for example, if it was a Cone of Cold, you'll still take damage and make a concentration check. There's also tons of monsters nowadays that ignore somatic components for their spell casting, either because they have some sort of feature, or the spell they're casting is just a feature and not a spell. Now there's something to be said about comboing, like it does complement a ton of spells and features, but it still provides half-ass, and there's a repeat save. I think we should be comboing great things with other great things, rather than bad things with great things. Sure, the combo is still great, but if we look under the hood, it's not great because of the slow. It's great because of the other thing. Now, Gator, we can finally get to the big question.
Kobold, what if the battlefield is a chaotic mess like this?
That is extremely rare with a party that communicates with each other with strategies like focused fire or taking advantage of terrain. For example, when a marshal opens up a door in the dungeon, they don't charge in the room immediately. That's a misplay. Because what can happen is they can be surrounded by all sides, and that leaves the choke point open for the enemies to take over the choke points. And then from there, they can attack the backline. That can force the backline to retreat to the previous choke points. And if that happens, the marshal who charged in is really screwed. I've seen that a few times. Funnily enough, every single one of them has been a barbarian. As for open fields, when there's a complete surround like this, players are usually clustered together. That's for easier AoEs and range. If there's a druid in the party, they'll put down spike growth at their feet and everyone lays down. Then when it's everybody else's turn, they get up and shoot or throw something and then lay back down again. There's tons of team combinations like this. We can be here for a very long time. This is just one example. The party only spreads out super wide when there's an enemy caster or a dragon or something with a deadly AoE around.
Unless there's a paladin in the party.
There's so many things. I can't guess every table. But I know for sure that this mess only happens when you're multiple rounds in and something went horribly wrong, or when you lose initiative and players make a misplay by not focus firing the enemies and just attacking whoever they feel like.
Kobold, Kobold, what's focus fire?
That's when the party focuses damage on one enemy at a time to take them out as quickly as possible. It's one of the strongest strategies you can do in the game. It saves the party a lot of resources and hit points, because the enemies can do less things when individuals die quicker.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Spread damage at normal tables is pretty common, I gotta say. I only see this happen when I DM for normal players who just do whatever. Optimized tables are way more involved in formations and targeting. I don't think there's anything wrong with either type of playstyle, but if I'm a player, I'm gonna ask you to please focus fire and use choke points and stuff. Not only does it speed up the game, but it also makes it safer to fight, and you don't end up in messy formations like this where AoEs are hard to place.
So Kobold, you're saying this is a skill issue then?
In a long-winded and polite way, yeah, I basically did. I think people should think about terrain and focus fire more. And of course communicate basic strategy. You guys are experienced adventurers after all. This spell only becomes okay if something horribly wrong happened, or everyone made bad moves. And even if, like, this was common, I would never pick slow here. I would still consider Fireball or Hypnotic Pattern. Hypnotic Pattern is the safest. If majority of my friends fail against the save and the enemies don't, then I'll just drop concentration immediately, you know? Sure, it's a wasted slot, but that's just how the dice roll. If I get lots of enemies and only one of my friends fail, I can send my Find Familiar to shake my friend. That solves quite a lot. I've talked about hypnotic pattern strategies before in this video if you want to know more. Link in the description. As for Fireball, Fireball will always do damage, and sure, my friends will get hurt. That's bad, but it's easy to calculate. If I hit 5 enemies with it, that's over 100 damage. If there's 8 of them in the AoE, that's worth it. But of course, I need to talk to the party before doing it. I find that most of the time when you mention the damage, they'll tell you to fireball them. People love getting fireballed, it's funny memes.
D&D is all about the memes. And slow has no memes. So slow bad.
Slow is in a very bad spot where everything just does a better job. Even haste has more relevancy than slow. Because if there's a rogue in the party, then haste becomes a common cast. Making the rogue do more than double DPR is worth it. But I gotta say with slow, I was hoping in 2024, Hypnotic Pattern and tons of other spells would be nerfed to its power. That way we'll close the martial caster divide more. But alas, it didn't happen. Wizards of the Coast likes casters too much.
That really sucks.
It really does. They left those powerful spells as is, and they didn't even give slow an upcast. But anyways, end the video. If you're interested in Kobold and Gator Dice, follow us on Kickstarter. We go live on November 1st. Thank you for watching.
Bye-bye.